Do you move during your putting stroke? Are you sure? Let's tee it up.
Welcome to Data Access Golf, your home for rapid golf improvement. And now, from the thin air of the Rocky Mountains, next on the number one tee, your host, Aaron Stewart.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Data Access Golf, the podcast. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, I wanted to jump into putting a little bit. The off-season is such a good time to practice putting that I just wanted to jump in a little bit deeper. I discussed a little bit about putting back in the podcast when we were talking about targets. So I'm going to not really set up how we line up a putt necessarily, but there's a problem that's going on in the amateur ranks with putting that is far more difficult to diagnose than most can appreciate. And I see probably as I watch and go out and play a lot of golf and hang out with different golf schools and different tournaments and those sorts of things, watching high school golfers, I am shocked at how many of us as amateurs move while we're putting. I get it. I understand the whole concept of it all. We get into our heads that with the natural motion of the golf swing, we go back and we shift to our back leg and we come back through. But so many of us have taken that movement and actually used it into our putting stroke, and it creates all kinds of problems, terrible, terrible problems. So we want to get into that today. Okay, so we want to work, in the wintertime, we want to work on our putting stroke. It's a great time to work on our putting stroke. There's a lot of different technologies out there that can help us do that, but I just want to talk about some real basic drills that can help us with our stroke. And then it can help us with our putter face, make sure that our putter face is square at impact. And then we're also going to talk about whether we're moving or not in our putting stroke. So 3 drills to do this. If you use these 3 drills, you will improve your putting over the winter. I can promise you that 100%. This will help you. Okay. So first off, you want to work on your stroke. We want to make sure that our strokes are very, very precise. We want to make sure that we are hitting the ball in the exact same spot on the putter every single time. Making a putt is a precision operation. We've got to make sure that we are operating with precision. So to do this, there's a lot of tools out there, and I know that Dave Pelz has this really cool kind of putting tutor, I think it's called. It's a little black sort of plate that looks like kind of an arrow. It's got a line pointed on it. It's got 4 indentations. You take out, and maybe it's 8 indentations. I can't remember now. You take out these ball bearings and you stick them in the holes, and it kind of helps you with your stroke. If you watch when they warm up, you'll see Phil Mickelson using it sometimes to work on his putting stroke. This is essentially the poor man's version of that. So to work on your stroke, there's a very easy way to do it. So first off, take your putter and put it down on the ground. Grab 2 golf balls, and on the toe and the heel end of your putter, just put 2 golf balls down there and just put them just a little less than maybe a quarter of the ball on either side. And then do 2 more balls so you have 6 of them, probably about 2 inches apart on either side. And then just work on your putting stroke. Just be able to move the putter back and forth between these 6 balls without hitting any of them. That is just such an amazing way to make sure that your putting stroke is super precise. And you'll develop some feels when you're doing this on what that feels like to you, okay? And just continue to work on it and work on it. The more you work and do this drill, the more you will understand which feels are real and stick with you day after day after day, and which feels are completely fake and change from day to day to day. And as soon as we start to distinguish between the real feels and the fake feels, then we're going to get better. Then we can trust certain things, and then we'll know that we just don't pay attention to other feels. Okay, so we've talked about that before. Next, we're going to try to set this up via a podcast. I'm going to try to paint a mental picture here. So stick with me. Hopefully we can do this. So now we've got 6 balls set up below us, right, on the floor. We've got, and they're all parallel to each other, and they're exactly they're just a little bit wider than our putter head. So the front 2 balls, I'm now going to move in. I'm going to take another golf ball, and I'm going to stick that down. I'm going to move the front 2 balls in until they're about a quarter of a ball on either side of this ball. right? So the ball can be put and pass through these two balls, but it will only pass through these two front balls if it's hit perfectly square. I will leave the back four balls in place, and then I'll make putts this way, right? So we'll line up a ball right in front of where the putter face is, and the putter is centered between the two center balls. I will take the putter back and through, and I will hit the golf ball and try to have it pass through the front two balls that are slightly wider than a standard golf ball, and see if I can putt through those two rails. The golf balls will become essentially rails or posts or whatever we're looking at, guides. And you will work this then helps us work on controlling our putter face. So we've worked on our stroke to make sure that it's precise. Now we're working on our putter face to make sure it's dead square when it gets to impact, so we can hit the golf ball and send it on the exact line we're looking, which in this drill means that it will pass through the two golf balls in the front without touching on either side of them. Okay, and hopefully you have a flat floor to do this. Hopefully that explains that well enough. Two balls that form a square, and then two balls up ahead that are slightly wider than a golf ball. Does that make sense? Hopefully that works. Okay. When I get set up to do these sorts of drills, I try to do 50 and 50, and then this last drill I'll do about 20 times. Okay, so you go 50 and 50. That will work on your stroke. That will work on your putter face to make sure that it's dead square. And again, really pay attention to what you are feeling day to day. Pick up on the real feels and pick up on the fake feels. And distinguish between the two. That's where learning happens. Okay. All right, finally, and this is the part that I was talking about in the intro. I am shocked at how many of us, including myself, move during the putting stroke. It makes sense because we move during the full golf swing, but it's amazing to me as I go out and watch how often this happens. It's amazing to me how it creeps back into my putting stroke time and time and time again. I have to be looking for this all the time. And so I've created a method in which I can determine if I'm moving or not. Because for me, it's very hard to pick up on. It's not like I'm moving a ton, but even if we're moving just a half an inch, we've essentially turned that stationary golf ball into a moving target. And anytime we're trying to be precise with a moving target, we've got problems. So do this. As you're standing over, and you don't have to do this. If you want to, you can, using the poor man's putting stroke, set up with the golf balls or not. But this is a very good way to figure out if you're moving in your golf swing or not, and to work on it. So as you're standing over the putt and you get all set up and you're ready to go, just the last thing you do before you take the putter head back is take a peripheral snapshot of everything that you can see. I start at the top left of my peripheral vision, and I will just kind of walk all the way around till I get back up to the top left, and I will have this mental picture of everything that I can see in my peripheral vision as I'm looking down at the ball. And then that's all that I pay attention to when I make the stroke. And I see if anything moves. Now, if I am dead still, that picture won't change. It stays exactly the same. But more often than not, two things happen for me, and I think that this is what happens to most people. You will see that the pitcher shifts a little to the right or back if you're left-handed. You will just see that the pitcher shifts back. Okay? Now, if the pitcher shifts back and in, okay, we've got a problem because we're moving back and in. If it shifts back and up, now we know that we're moving back and up. But we will be able to successfully understand which way we're moving in our putting stroke, and if we are moving in our putting stroke. Now, how often does this creep into your game? Way more often than you think it would. I have to check this to see if I'm moving in the putting stroke. When I'm out playing, I know right now that if I stood up and started messing with it, I haven't practiced my putting this week. If I stood up and looked at it, I'm probably moving a little bit. But it happens to all of us. and it will creep its way back in. So when we're out playing golf this summer, when things in spring and summer and things start to warm up, make sure before you go out, I will check it every single time before I go out and play on the putting green, just to make sure that I'm not moving. When I'm on putting greens getting ready to putt, if I'm waiting for somebody else to finish out, I will sit there and do this drill. Nobody knows what I'm doing. Nobody knows that I'm working on something, but it's very easy to get set up in your putting stance, get ready to go, take a peripheral snapshot of what's going on, and make practice strokes and see if you're moving. And then you can work on it. If you're just aware of that, then great. I can promise you can develop a skill where you will pay attention to that on every single putt. Now, here's something to keep in mind. If you are going through your round and you are feeling very, very unsettled about your putting, you feel like you've made a good read, you feel like you've put a good stroke on the ball, but you're making nothing and you're starting to get a little frustrated and a little freaked out because putting should be so easy. It's such a small stroke. You're really not moving that much. If you ever get to the point where you're freaking out, chances are you're moving. And you've made now the ball a moving target. You've increased the difficulty of making a putt. So take a quick second and look to see if you're moving. I'm telling you, this will help a ton. If you stop moving when you make a putting stroke, everything kind of becomes way more clear. And then you're starting to send the ball exactly where you're looking. You start making more putts. All this precision drills you've done with your stroke and making sure that the putter face is square at impact, all of that is awesome if you're not moving. And if you start moving, all of it feels like complete garbage. So check that out. Take a look at it. Let me know what you think. All comments are welcome at dataaccessgolf@gmail.com, or just leave comments down on the podcast where you've heard this. Phil Mickelson with the 60 today? Hello. He makes us old guys feel really, really good about ourselves. Anyway, always remember, better data and better input means better golf. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to Data Access Golf with Aaron Stewart. Check us out online at dataaccessgolf.com, and we'll see you on the next episode.